My Father's World has been everything that I could ask for in a homeschool curriculum. How many years have I been doing this now? Hi, I'm Karina. Welcome back to my homeschool room. Today I'm going to be talking about curriculum. It's something very difficult for every homeschool family to decide what it is they're going to do, what type of books they want to use, what type of publishers they like best, and it's especially a struggle for new homeschooling families. So I want to talk to you about why we have used the same curriculum for the past 9 years, and we've used My Father's World and why we love it. I found My Father's World when I began homeschooling my oldest child when she started first grade. For kindergarten, I used a different program that actually doesn't even exist anymore. It's called School Sparks. It's just basically a book of worksheets where she learned her letters and numbers and shapes and colors. But when we got to first grade, I knew that I needed a real curriculum. I had heard of My Father's World, I think from a family member back when I was a child, and the name just stuck with me from the hymn of This Is My Father's World. So I thought I would check it out, and I looked into it and I really liked it. So I wanted to tell you about the things that I really liked about it, and even more things that I've learned as I've used the curriculum for several years now, and why we continue to use it. When I started looking for curriculum, I found My Father's World, and I wanted to see what it was all about. It is a complete curriculum that goes from kindergarten all the way through high school, and I wanted to know more about the company. So I started investigating what it was that made them special. So I found out that they put a lot of emphasis on missions, and I loved that about them. Being a missionary kid / pastor kid myself, I liked the idea of putting missions as a primary emphasis in my curriculum. They teach about missions throughout the school year. In different levels, you read different missionary stories. In different grade levels, you learn about different missions that are going on around the world. My Father's World is based out of Missouri. It is written by Marie Hazel and her husband, and they write all of the curriculum. If I remember correctly, they are also a missionary family, which is why they have such a strong love for missionaries. Now, My Father's World also gives money from their profits to missionaries in different parts of the world. And during the year, they will send stories of missions that they have been able to touch, and obviously offer the option to be able to donate to those missionaries also. But just knowing that the curriculum that I'm sending quite a bit of money to each year, that they're not all about their profits. It's not all about them, but rather they give back. They are looking to advance the knowledge of the Bible. Just the fact that they're trying to get the Word of God to people who don't have access to it, I think that's a worthwhile cause. And it's another reason that we've really liked My Father's World. Also, something special that they do, which I didn't know about when I first started, but each year, I think twice a year, at the beginning of the school year and at the end of the school year, they give me a call and they ask me how they can pray for me. That's more than just a school. That's more than just a curriculum. That's a group of people who are really interested in the lives that they're touching, and they know the power of prayer. So they call and they either pray with me on the phone, or if I don't answer, they'll even leave a prayer on my voicemail. And it's such a refreshing thing to hear. The first time I got the voicemail, because I didn't answer, it was so touching to hear someone praying for me on the other side of my phone, someone that I didn't know, someone who I have never met and will never meet, and yet they were praying for me and for my school year. And it was just such a wonderful feeling to know that this school curriculum that for me is just to teach my children, they were interested in praying for us. So as I said, we've been using this curriculum now for 9 years. I started in first grade with my oldest daughter, who is now in 8th grade. I guess that's 8 years. As I said, we've now been using this curriculum for 8 years, and we've just loved it so much. The teacher manual is probably the best part of the My Father's World curriculum. It makes it really easy for someone, especially people who are starting out like I was, to really know what we are doing. Sometimes when you start out, you're like, I don't know how to teach. I don't remember this. It's been X amount of years since I was in first grade, second grade, fifth grade, eighth grade, whatever grade. And I don't remember anything. How am I supposed to teach this? Well, they make it really easy for you. Let me show you. We'll start out with the teacher's manual. You can open to any week and it gives you the calendar. I spoke a little bit about this when I talked about my planners. And it gives you what each child is supposed to be doing each day of the week. This is the first grade teacher manual. So a typical day for a first grader would be you do a Bible class and you read the Word of God and begin to memorize it. Also, they have something called their Bible reader, and this one's been well loved. It's already missing its cover, but it is called their Bible reader. And it's Bible reader as told by Marie Hazel. And it has the Bible story, so it gives a black and white picture, and it has the Bible stories in there at a level that a first grader can read. Then we go on to language arts. Now for language arts in the first grade, they use their workbook, which looks like this. And this one is mostly filled out already, but they teach about all the different phonics rules that you need when you're learning to read. And that's what this book does. And it does it both in a reading and in a writing pattern. So they're also practicing their handwriting as they are writing down the answers while they're learning their phonics. Then to give a little more handwriting practice and to start doing reading comprehension, they do what's called their Bible notebook. And their Bible notebook, go to the end here, just has a blank space at the top and it has handwriting lines at the bottom. And what they do is after they read a story from their Bible reader, they will then draw a picture. And then at the beginning, the first few weeks that they're doing this, they'll only write the title of the story on the bottom line. Then they'll gradually go into a sentence and then a couple of sentences until they get to here at the back where they can fill in all of those lines. Something else we've really liked about My Father's World is that it is very customizable. This curriculum is not rigid at all. They do provide, like I showed you, the language arts and Bible classes in with the packet that you purchase when you buy the first grade curriculum. But there are other classes that they don't include. First grade is a little bit of an exception because it does bring a math book not written by My Father's World, and it also brings science books, which are the Usborne science books, which I know are pretty common. But once you get past first grade, the second grade and forward, you have to purchase the math book and the science book separate. They do sell them on the website, but they're not included in the kit because that allows you to choose others. If you don't want to do that specific type of science, if you want to use a different publisher of a science, that's completely up to you, and the same for math. Or you can also do the same curriculum with multiple children, and that way it's a bit of a time saver. So you can buy a biology or a botany science book, and you can do it not only with your third grader, but you could include your fifth grader, your seventh grader, however you want into it to make it a family class instead of just every kid having their own individual class. And with math, they have suggested the Singapore math for elementary school. So that would be from second grade through sixth grade. They recommend the Singapore math. I was not familiar with Singapore before. I've come to really like it. I really like the way they teach, the way they set up the math problems and the way they teach them. I've really enjoyed, but I found something that I liked a little better based off of their recommendation. So this is Singapore math also, but this is produced by Thinking Kids, not by the Singapore people, but it is using their same methodology on how to teach math. So this is for the second grade. It says level 1 AB, but that is for second grade. Like I said, first grade curriculum comes with their own math book. But for the second grade, this is what I've been using. And I use this off and on between second grade through sixth grade. Sometimes I use the Singapore books that they recommend from My Father's World. And sometimes I purchase these from a local teacher store. And that's just a way that I save some money by buying these. They are a little cheaper than the Singapore curriculum, and I find them to be just as good. They have lessons for the adult to read, or a good reader, a good child reader, here in the front. So it teaches you, these are the different things. It gives you formulas, and this is all at the beginning of the book. And then it also will have reviews after every 2 units. It gives you a review. It will also have a midterm review, so it would cover everything that you've learned in the first half of the book. And then it has a final review, which covers everything in the book, focused mainly on the second half of the book. I use my midterm review as a semester test, and then I use my final review as the end of the year test. And then each review after the units, I use those also as tests, and that's how I grade their math. So my youngest child is now in 2nd grade, but I really wanted to share about the 1st grade curriculum because it was so special to me that was how I was introduced into my father's world. This was the 1st grade level that I used, and it made me fall in love with my father's world. I was able to use it for 4 of my kids, and it hooked me, and we're still using it now all the way through 8th grade. Although there are many homeschool curriculum options out there, and there are many options, I've really enjoyed using my father's world. They've been a blessing to me and to my family. They've made homeschooling fun. They've made it accessible. My father's world has been everything that I could ask for in a homeschool curriculum.